and basically the meta, if you could crack it open, is a single prize deck that beats Malamar and beats all the GX decks and can get through Green Zard's healing, and you have Shedinja decks in case that shows up.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted the formula, that's it.
Alright, let me go to the lab real quick.
Yeah, so let's start with Malamar. So do you guys think Malamar is best deck in format?
No.
Top 3.
No.
Inconsistent.
Inconsistent.
Loses the healing GX cards.
Loses
Right.
the healing.
So it loses the healing, but what GX decks play that? We got
Reshizard.
Green Zard playing Mixed Herbs and Great Pot, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So what about Malamar GX variants and Mewtwo boxes, Blounge-GX, Pikarom?
So pretty much every deck. Alright, cool.
Yeah, like, do they all play healing?
Blacephalon definitely doesn't. I don't think
Yeah,
Pikarom
but so
does.
Blounge
Pikarom,
does.
Pikarom has Super Scoop Up. But
I think that Blounds can outtrade it. And then if you can avoid Dawn Wings, that helps. Or if you can just catch her around the Dawn Wings. I haven't tested a ton, but I think that match was fine for Blounds. It's the Dawn Wings that's the problem.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Right.
I kind of don't agree with that because if you just chain Tinas with tags on them, like, how do they ever, like...
Oh yeah, Tag's kind of annoying, but you play Labs if you want. You could play,
Yeah,
or
I
you
think
just like get
I
around
think you
it.
play one Labs and Blounds because, like, you have to play Ultra Spaces because we lost Ultra Ball. I guess you don't have to, but I think you should play like one Heat Factory, 2 Ultra Space, 1 Lab.
Big Furnace gang.
Okay, Big Furnace. If you're playing Big Furnace, you probably don't play Labs then, right?
No.
So like 1 Lab still in a deck where you don't have search power or like a ton of draw power, you're not really getting it out.
Yeah, what's up,
that's why
Cash?
Cash is gas.
Cash. Ultra Mally makes healing and Reshizard useless.
Facts.
Good luck getting
facts,
4 psychic
facts.
energy on a. Ultra
Yeah,
Male.
I mean, instead you just tag your active, they kill it, and then you say Tina Chomp, GG.
Dude, Tina Chomp is.
I personally don't like Tina Chomp.
Do you like Ultra
Dude,
Mally
I was
better?
literally chilling.
I think
was,
Ultra is the best variant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ultra is
dude.
just better.
Interesting.
I was chilling with the Pikarom, bro, and he said GG or whatever the freaking GX attack, and he discarded my thing, and I scooped up the card. So, I mean, that was wild.
GG
I
end.
Oh yeah, we need Shedinja in this list.
Oh, best
Oh, yeah,
deck for day 1.
No. I don't think it's best deck.
I think it's really good.
It's really good. I don't think it's best deck.
Alright, we're gonna jump to Shedinja then.
Now that we added it to this list, it's not best deck.
We're gonna
'Cause
jump to
everyone
Shedinja
knows
then.
we leaked.
Meta manipulation, boys.
So, how is Shedinja... Okay, can Shedinja only win if you play perfectly around Reset Stamp, or do you just add more cards like Pal Pad and cards that like get around the Reset Stamp?
So far, there hasn't been, or like I've played a few games with Shedinja, and so far Reset Stamp has not been that big of a problem.
Okay.
You can chain, you can like resource back in Surge, Pal Pad, and then something else with the Surge back on top, making it so that if you have like 2 sprints and your deck is thin enough, you can sprint into the Surge first, play the Surge, Pal Pad. Like, so ideally you would have 3 Zebstrikos on your board if this is what happens. So you can sprint away your hand, then you draw the Surge, you Surge, then you sprint into the Pal Pad, you Pal Pad back in Grits, Mars, or whatever, but just you have to put the Grits back in. Then you then you sprint again into the Brox, you put 6 back into your deck, and then you continue the loop.
Okay.
For Lost March, what?
I think you could play Rhyperior too, like in this format. Like,
Did that rotate?
Without Guzma being gone? I think Guzma being gone.
Rhyperior rotated.
Did it
Yeah.
rotate? I
It
thought it was in.
rotated. It's Burning
We on that
Shadows.
Diglett Giovanni's.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah. I
That's
thought
what
about that too. And then I
Yeah,
was like, oh, Burning Shadow is sick.
Glad I wasted.
Yeah, so I mean, if Shedinja works internally, then it makes sense that it would be good, because at the first week of testing, I had counters for Shedinja in most of my decks, and by the week after, I took them out because I wanted my decks to be more consistent, and people stopped typing up Shedinja.
Yeah.
So if
I
that
feel like
continues, then...
I feel like people are writing off Shedinja for a reason that it's just gonna make a comeback right before Worlds, and then everyone's gonna freak out and tech for it, and then it's not gonna show up at all. It's just gonna be like one of those hop on, hop off type things.
Well, it depends on when the hype happens. Like, if it happens, like, 2 days before Worlds, then there's gonna be techs for it at Worlds. But if it happens, like, next week, then people are gonna forget about teching for it by the time Worlds comes around. Also depends on if it shows up day 1, then if it gets teched for day 2, and if it doesn't show up day 1, then maybe it doesn't get teched for day 2.
Yeah.
The whole
I
day
found
1, day 2 thing's confusing.
In theory, something that seems really annoying for Shedinja to deal with right now is Mew. Like if people play, or like
bench
Malamar
barrier,
with Mews
right?
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Champions Festival's still in format, right?
I don't know. Bob, to answer your question, or well, I guess it's not that much of a question, but Shedinja is definitely not as good with no Jesse and James, but the deck is still solid if people don't tech for it. My fear with Shedinja is just like so my theory is that winning is fun, so it doesn't really matter what type of deck I'm playing. But in terms of not being able to finish a 50-minute game 1, that is scary.
Yeah.
Like you have to play so perfectly, not mess up, and then you have to like hope your opponent doesn't draw it out. And I think it's definitely possible that they can
They
do
have to
that.
play up tempo too, which sucks.
Yeah, which is just not fun,
I don't want to do that for this kind of event.
especially in a high stress environment.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I wouldn't play it. If the deck wasn't like that and it was just like an obnoxious deck to play, and there wasn't really the factor of time, I'd 100% play it.
Diglett every turn.
I have not tested the Diglett yet, but in concept, that's like something that I want to test, because if you can actively mill your opponent's deck, it helps a lot with that. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like in theory, if you could actually Diglett all the time, like, and play it perfectly, then yeah, that would be like insane to play against.
Yeah. But also from what I've played, it's really hard to, like, you don't have bench space all the time. Like your ideal board is like 3s of Strika, and then a Shedinja or a Ninkata with something active.
I don't think you ever beat Malamar though, right?
I mean, you can. It's not impossible.
The Tina pings plus a Mew if they play is super annoying.
Yeah, but how many times can they Tina ping?
Yo, what's up, Mike Morton? I mean, they can kill the Giratina, and then, which is also super obnoxious because then they can prevent Surge a little bit.
Oh, Giovanni or Mars? Yeah, Mars is like really good.
Mars is like solid, but I'm not really sure how to answer this, but I feel like Mars is not active disruption, if that makes sense. Like it's one card, random.
Right.
So
to do that
if you know that your opponent has like a stamp in their hand or something, and you want to just get rid of it, but they're not playing hand disruption or hand shuffling, they could have had that stamp in their hand the entire time, and now they have a 10-card hand, and you're trying to hit a 1 out of 10 with your Mars to discard it. So it's like the randomness of Mars is a little obnoxious. And at least like Jesse and James has 2, where you're just like discard 2, and then you can keep doing that over and over again. 2, because 2 is better than 1. It's just faster.
What new cards does Shedinja gain, or does it gain anything? Yo, thanks for the follow, Zoro and company. That's Mike Morton, right?
Baroque and Mike Morton.
Yeah, it's Must Morton.
What's up, Mike?
Does it gain reset stamp? I don't think you care.
Yeah. Because you can hand lock them. It's not amazing, but you can play it.
Okay, it kind of feels like you would want
stamp them
better
to
things.
2 or 3. Oh, recycle energy is super solid, yeah.
Oh, that's true. I completely forgot about that.
You can stamp them low, then chip them, and hope that their hand is dead.
Chip.
Doesn't always work. Chip Ice Axe.
Yeah, recycle energy is actually very solid. That's like
I like that.
Something that Shedinja loses that's super obnoxious is Gladion. Like I played a testing
Yeah.
game where I just prized
Oh.
double Brox and I was like, well, I guess I lose.
Yeah.
Snap. Yeah, I didn't
And
think
those
about
are
that.
So it's kind of, you have to be really good at mapping your prizes because you're not going to be able to see them like that. And if you prize too many of one thing, like too many energy, it could get super scary super quick.
It even
I think
got
that's where-
kind of scary. Sorry to cut you off. It even got kind of scary with Gladion if you prize too many energy, in
Yeah,
my opinion. So now without it, it's like very bad. But make them play Persian Shedinja.
bench space would be my only problem with that, but that could be really good.
It was good because it was a stall counter. Like, would you still want it with stall gone?
It's just like disrupting
I
their
don't think
hand.
it's gone, bro.
You get rid of their hand, then you can just like watch them slowly deck.
Dude, I don't think Stall's gone, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Bro, stall lost Max Potion and Acerola.
There is Katron's deck, but I personally was not a fan when I played it or tested it.
I still think you're wrong, Luke. I think it's gonna be played. I think somebody's gonna make a broken deck, bro.
I mean, someone's obviously going to make a broken deck.
For a quad stack attack, go ahead, take 3 prizes, 200 HP stack attack walls. Oh my bust.
Yeah, I mean,
No, bro,
that's an attacking deck, no leaks.
No, bro. Like, Melmetal Pans, bro.
Bob, another problem with Persian is if they know you play it, they can play around it.
I like the Koga idea. I still don't hate Kogas in that deck. Cool.
Green Zard.
Broken, filthy, busted deck loses to Stamp sometimes.
I didn't say it loses to Stamp.
Bro, it's insane.
It feels like the deck is so good, and then they Stamp you, and you're just like, please let me draw out of this. If you draw out of it, you win. If you don't, you lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it also depends the deck you're playing against, what you need to draw out of it. Like, if you're playing against a deck with some singles and some GX attackers, then sometimes you need to, like, hit a greens or double custom catcher off the top to, like, win next turn or something, but other times all you need to hit is, like, one healing card or a mixed herbs to get out of Raichu Paralyze or something.
Real quick, Bob, you said that the Center Lady isn't in Unified Minds, but you don't need Center Lady. You just go Grass Energy and then you play Gardenia. So that's the way around the healing.
Oh, wait, Gardenia and what?
Grass energy.
Oh.
And
Yeah, I was thinking about like attacking Lucario Melmetal, but it's weak to fire.
Broken Reshi.
And you have Reshi and Blounds. Blounds is testing so much better than it looks like it should.
Bonds is really good.
Cash says, tried out Green Zard the other day, worked really nice, killed the Dark Boxes. My main problem with Dark Box is if they can stamp you in Darkrai GX your Reshi, you're so screwed.
Yeah.
Like,
Even if they don't stamp you, you're just
Pokemon,
not playing trainer.
7 Pokemon, 11 Fire Energy for most lists, I mean, give or take, and then you're just like, alright, the rest of my deck is trainers and I can't play any of them, I guess I will pass.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem I found. But if you can go fast enough against Dark Box, it's not that bad.
You play Stamp in Dark Box?
I think you should.
It depends. So there's so many things you need in that deck, like as the extra 4 to 6 slots. Like 3 to 4 super scoop ups is really good, which is something I don't have in my list on the channel. But I also think my channel was the first to have a Dark Box profile, so it's kind of old at this point, like 2 weeks, so it does need to be updated. It doesn't have custom catchers, but I don't think you have the draw power or like way to get to them in the later game, or the deck space to have the privilege to run custom catchers. But also custom decks without custom catcher like kind of blow right now.
Facts.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like Blounds, I think Blounds-GX you either run the Ninetales or like 3 custom catcher just to get 1 gust effect in late game when you need it. Like, I can't find room for 4 custom catchers in Blounds, or at least if I'm playing like classic
You
Blounds.
just play the Ninetales.
Green's Blounds is completely different. Yeah, I'm trying like an 0-1 Ninetales since I'm running the 1-1 Persian and a Ditto, and then I'm also trying it the other way around with just the 0-1 Persian.
I haven't been playing Persian at all. I don't think you need it.
Oh, Persian is gas.
Yeah, but if you thin your deck appropriately, you don't need it.
Persian's super solid. I like
It's
Persian.
hard to thin deck.
We're talking about in the
without
green
Ultra
deck,
Ball.
right?
And Blondes, yeah.
Either. So in greens, blowns, or classic blowns.
I like it in greens blondes. I don't think you have the bench space for classic blondes.
How is Lost March still viable after rotation? It isn't.
Guys
Bob
scorching.
McDougal's right.
Guys scorching.
Yo, thanks for the follow, Eric Smash. Why is
There's
it on the
only
list?
one way that Lost
Because
March
so many people were talking about it in chat, so I just wrote Lost March Nani. It's not. It's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, the only reason you ever way you ever beat Cosmo is if you get it, like if you play Sky Pillar, and you have to like get it to stick on going into Sky Scorching Light with a healthy jump off in the active. But that's so hard to do.
Oh yeah, that's cute. Your auto loss didn't rotate.
People are finally realizing that Stamp's like an issue for a lot of decks.
I don't know how many decks will play Stamp because I don't think it's a deck. I don't think it's a card that every deck needs to play. I like the card a lot. I think it's a solid card, but I think that decks will eventually just start realizing that they need room for other stuff. Like you were mentioning with Dark, you don't know how realistic it is for people to play it.
Yeah, you don't play it. I don't think you play it in Dark because you have a pseudo reset stamp in the Darkrai Umbreon-GX attack, which is, by the way, busted. And or filthy broken. Like just so you take 2 to 3 prizes, or 1 if you're using it on a 1 prizer, which you shouldn't. But then you also stop your opponent from stamping you next turn after you just took prizes. And you're stopping them from playing stuff.
Greenzard is not a good deck. Ian, I clapped you in testing. Get out of here.
He didn't hit stamp. That's why.
Yo, we got a huge leak on the Fossil Box.
What's the hot take on Fossil Box? It looks good on paper, and it
doesn't beat Malamar.
It doesn't beat Malamar. And it doesn't always beat the things that it should be. It's like a classic rogue deck. Someone has to break it. Someone asked about stage 2s. Probably just the Meganium Nidoqueen thing. Is that still good? Or if it was ever good?
I don't think it was ever good.
You can only attack 4 times, bro. Unless you Guru.
No, you'd have Welder. You just play Welder. I've gotten messages about that, actually, that people think Lillie is a bad card now.
I agree.
I think Hapu outclass
like
it in some decks.
I've been testing Pika, and then I'm just like, I could Lillie here, or I could Volkner for Energy E-Radar, and then there's hands where I still have Lillie, and I can Lillie for like 2.
Mm-hmm.
Volkner is gas.
Volkner's good. Red's Challenge is good, too.
Lillie with no Nest Ball keeps it out of whack. Just like in general, you don't have Ultra Ball or anything, so your only real thin card is ERM. And like Calm, which thins essentially like 1 card from your hand.
Yeah, from your hand.
And then stuffs it into your deck, and you want to draw it back.
So I think that Erika's might be solid. I haven't tested this yet, but I mean that's just the other draw supporter that comes to mind. If you're gonna thin your hand at all, you could get a lot more mileage with Erika's.
I'm just
and then
not
you have
a
the
huge
problem
fan
that
of
you go up,
Erika's.
you go like 4, and then say they have 6, you go up to 10, and now you're just like, well, how do I thin for the next Erika's?
I'm not a fan of Erika's because, like, if let's say you replace Lillie with Erika's, and then that's your turn 1 supporter, it's a terrible turn 1 supporter.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going first, like turn 0, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's true. Problem with Erika is Greenzard. I mean, I don't think you would not play a supporter just because of one deck that's gonna have a small bench, but it definitely makes it a worse supporter in the deck.
Erika's is good in Malamar.
Erika's is good in Malamar. I think Lillie gets mileage in Malamar because you have 4 Treasure, 4 Pokecom, Viridian Forest, Acrobikes. There's no way Stall is a thing.
Dude,
you want to bet?
I'm the one walking out round 1 saying I lost a Stall, by the way. No cap. What's the best non-GX attacker in Pikarom?
Zapdos.
Electros is kind of best.
Oh, Electros.
Against Keldeo, you just put that thing down, you're like, alright, 130.
Yeah, but
130,
why are people playing Keldeo?
Oh, I'm just saying, like, Electros isn't bad.
Wait, 130?
It's just it's a solid non-GX.
Hang on, I should actually scroll to that in case people don't know what it does.
Yeah, I don't know what that does.
You can just play it down from your hand and it's a stage 2.
What?
It does like 130. I think you have to have 4 energy on board and then
We just
bench
leaked
it.
to Alec and all the people like Alec that didn't know about Electros.
Oh, I get the cheat. That's
Bro.
freaking sick.
Bro, we don't hide knowledge.
It's,
Yeah, this is
I mean, it's hard to
boring.
hide when it's on the set list.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't read the set list, bro.
There you go,
And
public.
here we go,
Busted
Electros.
Electros.
There it is. Wait, that's electric. There we go. If this Pokemon is in your hand and you have 4 lightning energy in play, you may use this ability. Put this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench. If you do, move as many lightning energy from your Pokemon to this Pokemon as you like. For 4 lightning, it does 130 during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't retreat.
Whoa, they can't retreat?
They can't
Oh,
retreat.
that's broken.
Whoa.
I didn't know that. I just thought it did 130. That's kind of epic.
Well, Will's testing has gone to shreds, bro.
It's fine.
Somebody send me a little.
So, Mew Mew box.
Yep,
Which one?
100%.
Psychic Fairy Water or Welder Rainbows?
Well, they're rainbows.
This isn't a deck that I've tested because I originally wrote it off as it looks inconsistent, but I could be wrong.
It's not.
The fairy one is kind of good. I like both.
The fairy one runs really hot, but its
Yeah.
issue is you don't have a 4 energy one shot attack like the Rainbow Fire one does. That's like my specific issue with it right now.
So it doesn't accelerate fast enough to use Dragonite or something?
No, you do use Dragonite, but there are turns where you get the 4 energy and not 5, and you like a Flare Strike would do okay. Like there's like against Blacephalon or Ultra Necrozma against like under 200 HP Pokemon, Flare Strike will do it. And then there's other times where you need the Dragonite.
And you just hit him with the Altaria?
Yeah, I prized Altaria in a couple games.
Oh,
yeah,
Just
but
play
so
two, bro.
so you play Altaria and Latios only walls tag teams. So like against Ultra and Blounce-GX, that doesn't help you. But yeah, I really like the Psychic Fairy Water one. I have less experience with the Welder Rainbow, but like, turn 1, attach Mina, Dedenne, a Solgan to the discard, and then Turbo Strike, have 4 energy on the board. It's pretty gas.
Mina just says attach a fairy from your deck.
Yeah. To any Pokemon, so you can do it to the bench as well.
We're talking about the Zoro Checkmate in this format, essentially.
Oh, the new Naga.
It's okay. How do I explain this? So I tried out Xander's list. Is that what we're talking about?
The Pokebeach one, or 6 cards, something.
I feel like the engine could be refined, and then the concept is super solid.
Yeah, the concept is there. The thing is, I don't know if there's a way to make it better. Like, I don't know. It's not Zoroark, because you can't just throw away anything.
Yeah, also, you need 2 attachments for the 170 attack, which is pretty annoying. It's not as quick as Zoroark.
Yeah.
But it's solid. It has trade.
If you're looking for that kind of deck, it's probably it is the closest you're going to get.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, pause real quick. And Malamar, are we playing Siggy Boy or no?
That was originally something that Justin and I came up with, and we thought we were busted for it, and then I think Pablo posted it in his article, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Sigilyph is pretty strong.
I like Sigilyph. I don't know if it's still good, because we haven't tested that
yet.
That's
what I was wondering, because I told somebody about it, and I was like, yo,
originally, it was very solid.
I've tried, like, a ton of stuff in Malamar. Deoxys Espeon is obviously...
I like that card.
Yeah, that's been sticking. That's your finisher. Bro, it's literally in my Flipside article.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow, Arlo out here trying to prevent leaks.
Come on, everybody knows about Deoxys Espeon. I talked about it on my channel.
I love that card
it's so good. It's your finish. It's your finisher.
It's literally my favorite card from the set.
So there's that. There's Dawn Wings, Lunala Prism, Mimikyu, because Mimikyu stays, and apparently everyone thought it was leaving.
Everybody doesn't read, bro.
Wait. Mimikyu
from Guardians
Copycat?
Rising, yes.
Is there a promo?
Yeah,
That's
it's promo 99.
Willard.
I genuinely didn't know. Oh, I mean, I knew the Mimikyu is legal because it's the fairy one, but I didn't know that
the psychic
it was a
one's
psychic
legal.
one.
Yeah,
That's
psychic.
cute. I like that.
Yeah, that kind of like, so regardless if you're playing Tina Chomp or not in Malamar, if Reshi hits into a spell tag with Flare Strike, they're dead, either to
That's
copycat
broken, busted.
or yeah, I actually started dropping more games when I took out the Mimikyu for second Tina Chomp, because that
This makes so much more sense now.
Tina Chomp, holy shit.
Tina Chomp is pretty strong. You can donk him if Reshizard goes for the wall with just one Reshi and starts healing. You're just like GGN, bud. So they can't play that strategy.
Imagine not benching a Pokemon.
Imagine not going double Volcanion, double Reshi.
I mean,
Yeah, really,
after
like,
you,
what?
so when you go down to one prize, or when you go down to one prize, there comes a point where you might not be able to knock them out because you're out of tags or they stuck a labs. So then you just GGN before they can beat you and you win.
You're
So
not having Malamars in play.
yeah,
I'm clapping those Malamars. I'll be like, high heat. Double custom catcher, high heat again. One more time.
right shoot.
Also, I feel like if Malamar misses a beat early, so like if it attacks turn 3 instead of turn 2, it's so much worse. Which I mean, that's the same thing as last format, but especially in this format, if there are decks that can abuse custom catcher really well, or Ninetales, and that happens, oh my gosh, it's a different story.
I mean,
I've been
versus
testing
oh god,
Jirachi Reshi with Ninetales in it,
mm-hmm.
and so far I've found that Malamar's, or like just like Psychic Malamar, is fine because you just kill their Malamars over and over again, then you stamp them and kill their active, and then they have a hard time. So if they start attacking turn 3 instead of turn 2, it just makes that strategy so much easier for Reshi.
And is that's with a Heatran GX, right? I imagine you're trying
No.
that out. No.
No.
Okay.
I actually have no idea what that card does.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that card.
I think I looked it up and then I said I wasn't amazed by it, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's okay, but I think it deserves a spot in Abilities Ard. Let me scroll to it.
Imagine abilities aren't being good.
It's good.
It's good.
Really?
It's actually solid. It can
What are you
abuse
playing
Ninetales
with?
Yeah,
really
you
well.
can abuse Ninetales, and also like Arcanine's also pretty good.
I actually might like it more than Greenzard, but I haven't gotten nearly as many games in
And
it.
I also really like Abilities are better than Greens because it doesn't lose to stamp.
Oh yeah, that's a huge plus. Your stamp.
Yeah,
matchup
you're just
with
like,
that
oh,
guy.
you stamp me? Okay, I'll just send up Jirachi and get.
Heatran is worse Coco GX, so I'm assuming it has Tap
So-
with Thunder then.
No, if it had Tap with Thunder, it wouldn't be bad. It's once during your turn, if you switch this into your active Pokemon, you can move any fire energy attached to other Pokemon onto it. It does 130 for 3, and then Heat Bomber does it's GX, 50 for every fire on the Pokemon for 1 energy, but you need more energy obviously, and it has 190 HP. So like if you go like your first thing knocked out's a tag team, then you go with this and another tag team is the idea.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's,
mean, if that can KO a tag team, that could be solid, but I'm not sure of a tag team that's a bad matchup yet.
Word, that makes sense. So it might just be win
but like
more.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem awful. If there was a tag team matchup where I thought I could accomplish a strategy of going 3-2-3,
Mhm.
like then I would play it because it's pretty realistic that you could get enough energies on your board to just do that, and then like have no energies on your board, then go Welder and oh wait, it's the GX attack. Yeah, no.
No.
Oh. I was thinking about it because usually with Reshi you're kind of like Flare Strike, GX, and then Flare Strike again.
Yeah.
But the GX is really important with Reshi, and if you're wasting it on that, you might not have the potential to do that. And
Yeah.
then you're clearing all the energies off your board. So in order to go Welder, Flare Strike, you need 4.
Every Japan list played Heatran. Yeah, but the Japan lists are
Good for Japan.
Completely different format.
and
Yeah.
they're usually not optimal by our standards, or at least we
Yeah.
usually don't like them. Oh, they
I
had
agree with
Kiawe. That's
Arcanine
exactly
and-
why.
I agree with Cash. Arcanine and Ninetales are solid.
Really, Arcanine looks bad because we lost
It's,
Nestball.
no, not many. Just a 0-1 line. So like
Yeah,
you're
you
playing
just play a
Ditto,
1-1 line.
and then you play an 0-1 line because it's just good. If you can, I wouldn't call Japan trash deck builders, bro. They do well at Worlds all the time.
Yeah, that's
That
Shintaro.
Calistopod Garb deck was bust.
yeah, that's not
Shintaro.
true.
So was Kiawe Ho-Oh. Even though that deck like just shouldn't beat Guardy.
And yeah, shouldn't be Guardy ever.
That deck was still very cool.
Yeah.
Arcanine in a format without Plume. It's not that you need the Arcanine, but it's nice because you can just fill your board with energies and say checkmate. You don't like it
Yeah.
helps you not run out of attackers, and it's another one prize attacker to help deal with the pesky Malamars or stuff.
Yeah, if it was...
And since it has 140, something you can do is if the Malamar player doesn't have tags on their Malamar, since in theory you would be playing Ninetales with this card as well, if we're talking about like an ability Reshizard, you can go gust up the Malamar with the Ninetales and then do 120 to the Malamar, take out their Malamar, and now they have to swing into you for 130. Because Arcanine has 140, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you avoid tag damage on the Arcanine, because you would probably try and set this up pretty early so that tag wouldn't be a problem.
So do you guys think in abilities do you play Lysander Labs or just Big Furnaces?
Big Furnace is bust.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 'Cause
Big
people are-
Furnace, Heat Factory, and a Shrine.
Big Furnace is just insane. I don't know why you would play it.
I want to
People-
fit Shrine into my greens list, but like, I already
Well,
have
don't
Heat
have any of your
Factory.
greens, bro?
Right
Yeah,
now, I
you
have
need it.
Heat Factory, 2 Power Plant, 1 Labs. But I might
Nice.
just go
I
like
like-
1-1-1-1.
Yeah, Prizing's a bit annoying, but I have 1-1-1-1.
Yeah, the second Power Plant is just currently I'm expecting a lot of Mew Mew just because it's like one of the new flashy cards. There's lists from Japan. There's lists available online. And also Dark Box is just like a really cool deck that people are going to want to play, and Power Plant's good against both of them. And also just Power Plant early versus Pikarom. Like, if you put one down on turn 0, and then they can't dedenne, or if they replace it, then you put down another one, they're probably not finding another stadium right away, and then they don't have their free retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
hope you're
thinking
enjoying.
about
Yo.
the-
Yo, Luke, can I lead the discussion on Dark Box?
What do you mean?
Oh.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Alright, so Dark Box is currently one of my favorite decks. It has a lot of potential, in my opinion, with how you build the deck. Like, obviously, I think a lot of it needs to be, a lot of things need to be fixed about the list. Like, obviously, you're going to need a lot of it stuff. Like, you really need Custom Catcher in the list, and you also really need Super Scoop Up. So, Super Scoop Up and Custom Catcher are both really important to have both in the list at the same time. So, it's going to be really interesting to see what people bring up about Dark Box, because Darkrai Umbreon is a broken card, and same with Sableye. I really like that GX attack against basically any deck. It's kind of like an end game.
Zoro Ninja's
yeah.
trash, right?
Mhm.
Oh no, that card's insane.
You like Zoro Ninja? No.
Ew, what? Why?
In the same deck? I
Don't you
think
just have
I'm
like
I'm
better
kidding.
attackers?
My
Oh.
god, that was. I can't believe you didn't read the sarcasm. Anyways,
no, I missed the
No.
memo.
Nah, he's just cloud chasing.
Yeah.
Tracking his statement, bro.
But no, Zoro Ninja's trash. But the only issue I have with it is hold on, what was the issue with it? Pikarom and Blounce destroy it.
Dark Box?
Oh yeah. 'cause
You
Blounce
auto
is just-
Blounds.
What?
Dude.
No.
The GX
I
attack, they don't B-string.
Dude,
Okay.
Arlo.
It's- yeah.
I've tested
go
this matchup a
turn,
lot. You're
like,
fine.
How are we assuming we can get a turn to a GX?
Turn
dude,
2
I tried
Umbreon
against Arlo
Darkrai
3 games
GX?
in a row, dude.
Yeah.
I couldn't pull
No,
it off.
I'm assuming I get a turn 2 130 and 60, and then I GX.
Oh yeah, you can just skip Beast Train.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Wait, are you
yeah.
playing catchers though?
If you play Custom Catcher, you skip B-string. And if
Yeah,
you don't
that
play
would be
Custom
good.
Catcher, you skip it with your GX attack.
I don't know. The GX attack just seems detrimental to that deck in general.
I mean, Alex just could never get 6 energy on board because the deck was just so fast with Blounce.
I mean, no matchups are 100-0, right?
Well,
But,
no,
like-
it's not 100-0, but it's really, really hard, in my opinion, for Dark Box to overcome Blacephalon-GX, unless people are just not playing my list. Like, my
Oh,
list
yeah.
is just a very basic 4 Blounce, 3/3 Nag, and then you play 101, 1/1 Ninetales line, a Ditto, double Dedenne, and I play 4 Welder and a bunch of Big Furnaces. I can't remember how many I play.
Right.
And then everything else is just 4 Treasure, 4 Treasure, 4 Cherish, 4 Acrobike, 4 Beastring. That's the only items I play.
To be fair, what this kind of sounds like is like a Pika box versus Blounce kind of thing, where you have, if the Blounce can establish enough energies and nags early enough before the GX attack can fire off, and then they can kill the big threat, in this case being Darkrai, but in previous cases being Pika. It seems like that could be a problem, but I think that the matchup seems like you just kind of go all in on that strategy and burn the Pika. All right, bud. Okay, Ian.
Back to
Okay.
what you were saying. We're saying that Pikarom Blounce matchup of last format, you can kind of look at that if you want to look at how the Dark Box Blounce matchup looks like. So if Blounce gets going fast, and even with Welder, you can afford to miss your B string. I think, like in a very fortunate situation for Blounce, you can afford to miss the B string.
I think you can just straight up beat Blounce if you can turn 2 GX with the full effect. Taking the like Night Spear approach, 150-60 approach seems a bit slow.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do that, that gives him time to like Welder and stuff.
Right, so I don't like counting on the turn 2 GX when looking at that matchup, because that means either one, you're playing Sharpedos instead of Naganadels, which are high roll, or two, you're hitting your Darkrai Prism every game with 2 energy in hand.
Sharpedo? What the hell? Oh, okay. I know what that is. Never mind.
the inferior one.
I thought someone was high out of their minds. I'm like, what the hell is that? It's like, when did this become anything? I was like, oh, okay. Rucan posted that in Verbank. Never mind.
Yeah. So Darkbox, one big question. Does it need Super Scoop Up? 2, does it need Custom Catcher? And 3, can you ever fit both of them?
You can definitely fit both of them if you just have to make some sacrifices off your consistency, which is obviously not optimal, but I think it's a risk you have to take, especially going into a blind Worlds meta.
Mm-hmm.
But you definitely just need both in order for the deck to function properly and have a chance against everything, which is the whole point behind a Dark Box.
To answer Bob's question from earlier, he mentioned Esper we mention Esper? We didn't mention Esper, but we mentioned the Deoxys tag team
as a finisher.
Espeon-Deoxys, which essentially lines up the same thing. It's a spread option.
Yeah, I like Esper if you're playing all single prize Malamar and you don't want to risk starting a GX. So you can play Jinx from Team Up, Esper, then of course the Tinas and the Mimikyu, and maybe even a Lunala Prism if you want a big hitter and you're not playing GXs, and you can play full single prize Malamar. Are you guys all playing at Worlds? Yeah, we're all day 1, right?
Yeah.
Rip Worlds,
Press F.
Opinion on Sigilyph and Mally. We were talking about that. We all think it's pretty good, but we're not sure if it's necessary or optimal, correct?
It's okay.
I think Malamar has plenty of tech options to make it personalized to what you like.
Yeah.
You can play Mimigar, you can play Sigilyph, you can play Espeon-Deoxys, Esper, Jinx, all of these cool psychic things. Mimikyu, apparently. So,
yeah.
I feel like Malamar is probably a really good deck to play if you want a lot of customization in your deck in terms of what attackers you can use.
Yeah.
It seems like it has a ton of solid options.
Yeah, there's so many ways you can build it. I have 3 different lists just for spell tag versions, like that are pretty spell tag focused. Onyx and Malamar, I've thought about it and never pulled the trigger. I've tried Larvitar, but honestly, if you're playing single prize spell tags, I don't think you need it versus Pikarom. Evilax is pretty much gone off the face of the earth. You can one-shot fighting weak stuff with Ultra or Tina Chomp if you're playing them. Like, I don't think you need a fighting type. Anybody else think you do? I think it sounds like a pretty trash card to have in your deck.
No.
Just committing 4 energies.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
like,
Bob is right. Marsh Champ if you're playing fighting energy for Tina Chomp already.
Yeah, something cool about Tina Chomp is I would assume you play Viridians, right?
Yes, at least 2, likely 3.
Yeah, you can play like Baby Buzz and stuff like that. So I think Tina Chomp's cool because you have a ton of cool fighting Pokemon that you can abuse now.
And a ton of cool psychic Pokemon, so you
Yeah.
just, you have so much in that deck. There's so much I want to put in Tina Chomp. But yeah, that's a good point. The combo of Sigilyph and Mew is how you can beat Pikarom with Tina tags. I don't think you need all of that, but yeah, if you're, I get that would beat Pikarom, I guess, unless they have like a rogue power plant in their deck and they just ruin your day. But yeah, I play a Mew in all my Malamar lists, but I don't have Sigilyph in any of them.
I would play Sigilyph and Malamar if I were to play Malamar, which I plan on not.
I definitely think Sigilyph's good, but it's not better than Spioxys, and my lists are pretty tight. I don't know if you answered, but custom catchers in Mali, absolutely not.
Nope.
100% no, because we're playing bench damage with tags and Esper and Spioxys and all the things that we mentioned.
Yeah, you just don't need it, and nor can your deck, in order to function properly, can afford to.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. Like, Acrobike into Malamar and Custom Catcher. Okay, we're throwing away a Custom Catcher.
Uh-oh, guess we lose the game now.
Can you fit a Brock? I don't think you play Pokemon Recycle in Malamar.
You just don't need to.
Also, if
Like,
you end up
you
rocking
knocked
in
out my
Psychic
Malamar?
Energies, yikes.
Max Jirachi in Malamar. I think no, either one or two.
I like to.
Have you considered Baby Lele at all?
No. I thought it was rotated out.
It is.
That's why I didn't consider it. Yeah,
Man,
Psychic
you guys
Lele's
just
gone.
bodied- You guys just bodied that kid.
Sorry.
F.
Spiritomb.
Alright, I
Nope,
really
nope.
thought that Spiritomb could be good, and it might still be, but the first deck I started testing was Green's Reshi, so I was just like, how does this beat Green's
Oh,
Reshi?
yeah, it doesn't.
And then I was like, you could play Frostlass, but then you're playing a stage 1 in your deck.
That sucks.
And, yeah, I kind of just didn't play with it. But I do think that this format, if there is a solid one prizer, could be really good. And obviously people will default to Malamar, but
Yeah, I that's a really interesting point you bring up. You started with Green Zard and you really liked it, so it kind of skewed how you were thinking about another deck's viability.
Yeah.
I'm on like the side of the spectrum I'm on for that is Malamar as like the deck to
yeah, that
beat.
too.
Like I see it being the popular deck, and I see it being the powerful deck. It's versatile, like you said. Its matchup spread's really good, and if you're playing the single prize version, it's a single prize in this field of all GX and tag team decks.
Also, let's not forget, if you're playing Spiritomb, there's a cool card called Spell Tag.
Yeah, and basically, the meta, if you could crack it open, is a single prize deck that beats Malamar and beats all the GX decks and can get through Green Zard's healing, and you have Shedinja decks in case that shows up.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted the formula, that's it.
Alright, let me go to the lab real quick.
A formula.
The formula.
And no, Behemoth is not an answer. Grant, do I like the direction the format is going on as a whole? Yeah, it's I wish we had some better search cards, but or like more. I wish Cherish Ball wasn't a card and they printed something else that was like specifically non-GX, so that there would be more room for. I'm sorry. Yeah, I wish there was something that was more specifically towards non-GX, so that we could have some more single prize stuff happening. But unfortunately, they're like, here's Cherish Ball. Keep GX is good because big cards equal big money.
Yeah, they like flashy cards in Japan.
But, yeah, I think it's alright.
Wait, what's alright? The format? Is that what we're talking about?
He asked, do we like the direction that the format is going?
Yeah, I actually really like it. Like you were saying about the lack of search, there's a bit of. If they made a nest ball, like I think Will was saying, if they made a nest ball for non-GX Pokemon, that would be lit.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the only issues I have. I love Reset Stamp. I love that it's not N. There's nothing like Puzzle of Time or Versus Seeker that allows you to be sloppy with your play and then fix it later on. So it's more skill based, but like any game like this needs RNG. So like something like Reset Stamp is good for the game, and it's also a comeback mechanic. Guzma being gone, I wanted Guzma to never be printed, so I'm happy about that. Because again, you could be sloppy with Guzma in the format. What else? I kind of miss Acerola and or Max Potion. I would have liked to keep one of those, but both of them make stall like really good. Also, actually, I think I would have rather kept Max Potion because Acerola would have made Raichu Tag Team not as good.
Yeah.
So, like, Guzma and Acerola leaving makes special conditions more viable. So that wraps up our parts of the discussion from the Twitch stream that are making it to YouTube. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be doing more of a structured and outlined meta discussion when we get closer to Worlds 2019 and the DC Open. But I think these kind of updates here and there on testing are nice to have. And big thanks to my guests, Will Jenkins, Alec Geisler, and Arlo Neal for coming on the channel to talk about how their testing and their theorying have been going. As always, go to flipsidegaming.com to check out my free articles that I write there, and also use code CELIO for 10% off of your order. You save some money there, and it also helps me when you use my code. I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.